Elvis, the Predator. Thank you very much.
Priscilla.
Oh, yeah.
It's the J. Craig Movie Review. Movie Review. A movie review.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the J. Craig Podcast. I'm Jay, and I got Tina. There she is. Okay. I want you to introduce yourself. How you doing?
Good.
All right. Well, we saw Priscilla, and this is the number one Elvis fan that I could think of to bring with me. So we checked it out. This is starring Kaylee Spawney and Jacob Elordi as the Priscilla and Elvis tag team. Directed by Sofia Coppola, so that's what got my interest immediately. So first and foremost, Tina, what'd you think of Priscilla?
Well, it was based on the book ELVIS and Me that was written back in the 80s, which I thought was really interesting. I don't like Sofia Coppola as a actress.
Oh.
However, I was interested to see what she did.
Are you
with
saying
this book.
you don't like Godfather?
Oh, God.
3?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
Terrible.
But as
Terrible.
a filmmaker.
She should stay off the screen and be behind the scenes.
As a director, what'd you think of the movie?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It was a little flat. It was almost like she took pieces of Elvis and Me, the book, and just put a bunch of sticky notes in the book and just started pulling pieces in a chronological way.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it was an interesting look at Elvis, the Predator. I mean, that's what this movie should have been called.
But if you talk to Priscilla, she's been in many interviews over the
last
few decades since this book came in, talking about the fact that it was always an acknowledgement that she was 14 when Elvis first met her in Germany. And she was very much a secret in Graceland. He knew that it could tank his career if news of her
got out there.
Right. Into the...
doesn't make him not a predator at this point, right?
Well,
he's definitely still a predator. He's grooming. He's doing his thing. It's kind of a little... I was like, what kind of story are they telling here? So the problem I have with the story, while it's an interesting look at this relationship and where Priscilla comes from, because we never learn about her. We always learn about Elvis. It's always Elvis. Besides the fact that Elvis really didn't look like Elvis, okay. I felt like they just really didn't dive into any of the material. It just felt like you said, almost like a whitewash of their story, where it was just like, here's some highlights, here's how it went, here's the craziness, but like the relationship, you didn't really get a feeling for it because it was just snippets. And I think that's just a tribute to maybe today. We're in a bite-sized, soundbite society, right? So how about little snippets of her history, and then you're supposed to kind of, piece it together. But at the end, we find out, where she goes throughout life, and it just didn't really hit for me. It kind of felt kind of dull, if you will.
It was a little flat. And I will say that the casting was probably my number one issue with this movie, mainly because Kaylee Spawney
playing Priscilla.
So they should have switched actresses. From
when
she was a teenager to when she was older, because throughout the movie she was 14 years old to me the entire time.
Right.
Even after having a child, and even after like the whole Vegas scene and everything, she was 14 the entire time. I never saw her really mature. She has a really soft spoken voice, like Priscilla truly does in person. However, she wasn't, when you see Priscilla Presley, even from when she was 14, she was strikingly beautiful. And we've seen photos of her, or we've seen images, video, whatever, you don't look at her and say that's a 14-year-old girl or that's a teenager.
She's striking.
She is striking, and she always was mature beyond her years, from what I've heard and read over the years.
But in this, she
was a teenager the entire time.
Soft-spoken.
She was very soft-spoken, but she also has like that high voice that teenage girls have throughout the movie. So it was a little hard to get yourself into the character of Priscilla when there was literally a teenager the entire time, even when she was like 30 years old. So that was my big problem. The Elvis casting I wasn't as concerned with, because that's hard to do.
That's no Jack White, right?
Hey, man. Look out, man.
Look out, man.
that's hard to do. That's hard to pull off.
It is. Because you see somebody that's,
Yeah.
you know that face.
Plus,
you know
the movie
that.
wasn't about Elvis. It
True
was
enough.
about Priscilla. So I really wanted to see less of him and more of her because so much of her story is wrapped up in Elvis. So I really wanted to see more of what was she thinking during this time. But really, it was so on the surface, and it was really just... It was just very vanilla.
It's almost like a documentary of the situation,
kind of,
you know,
yeah,
without the narrative there. Ultimately, it's entertaining. It's a good look at, you know, a story that most of us don't know. I never read the book. Didn't know there was a movie in the 80s that I hear is far better.
And actually, if you want to see a more dramatic, more in-depth look at what that book portrays, go find the movie Elvis and Me from the 80s.
Okay.
In the interview that I watched after the movie, Priscilla even said in the movie, you know, he was the love of my life. It wasn't him that I wanted to leave. It was the lifestyle because it had gotten so out of control. And she just couldn't keep up with it. She was raising a child. She didn't want that lifestyle anymore. Essentially, it wasn't worth it to her anymore, but she does still say to this day at 78 years old that he was the love of her life.
Well, there you have it, folks, from the Elvis historian that I know. Go check it out.
You're very limited.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As the boys say, ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
It's the J. Craig Movie Review.